What up, Internet? This is Niels RY, aka Bruce Wayne. And I am here with a quick bonus episode because I gotta talk to y'all about the Batman movie that just came out. The Matt Reeves 2022 The Batman. Alright, so I know what y'all are thinking. Y'all are probably wondering how I'm doing. Yes, I am freaking out. That movie was awesome. It was amazing, was fantastic. So much so that I needed to just jump on and talk to you all about it. And so I'm not going to do, what I typically do when I watch a good movie, which is freak out and then say why this movie is ranked number 1, 2, 3, or whatever. I'm not going to do that. And this is not the time and place for me to discuss whether this is better than The Dark Knight or not. I need to watch this a few more times before I can tell you if this is the greatest superhero movie of all time. So I'm not ready to do that. But what I am ready and willing to do is to talk about why this is one of, if not the best Batman movie of all time. And now I know what you're wondering. I literally just said I'm not ready to talk about whether it's better than The Dark Knight or not. And I'm sticking to that. I'm not saying this movie is better than The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is currently the greatest superhero movie of all time. But this movie is about Batman. This is a Batman movie. The Dark Knight is about the Joker, just causing chaos throughout Gotham. And it is the origin story of Two-Face. That's the crux of the movie. But this movie is Batman. You are constantly seeing Batman. You're following him in all his different endeavors. It is a Batman movie. And why I say this is one of the best Batman movies of all time is 1, it's really good. 2, the acting is dope. But 3, what we're going to spend a lot of time talking about is all the different comic book references that were in this movie. I kid you not, y'all. There is at least 4 comic book series that are in this movie. And those are the ones that I know top of the dome. There could be more, but I'm going to talk to y'all about 4 comic book references that I saw in this movie. 1 is The Long Halloween. The other is Hush. The third one is Batman Earth 1. And last but not least, Zero Year. So, let's jump in. The Long Halloween, the majority of this movie, I think, is based off of Batman The Long Halloween. So in Batman The Long Halloween, written by Jeff Loeb, it's one of the greatest Batman stories ever written. Pretty much, it's like spending a year with Batman as he tries to investigate a serial killer who is you guessed it, slowly killing people throughout the year. But they're using holidays as a theme for why they're killing folks. What you see in Batman The Long Halloween is the drama between the Maroni and the Falcones. You get to see a glimpse of Thomas Wayne being involved in the mystery and the drama. But the real big thing is it's the premier Batman detective story. You are literally watching as Batman solves the case using his cunningness, his skills, connecting the dots, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. You're seeing why he's considered one of the greatest detectives ever. And so this is essentially, I believe, was the foundation of the movie. But instead of making it a year long, they made it a week long. Because the Batman, the movie, was essentially a week. It was literally just a week. It was 7 days. That brother must have been tired. Anyway, so number 1, The Long Halloween. Number 2 is Batman Hush. Now, if you're a member of the pop cult, you probably read Hush. If you haven't, go read it. It's one of the greatest comic books of all time. Hush was also written by Jeff Loeb. And I think the big themes that you see from Hush that were in the movie is the relationship between Batman and Catwoman. In Hush, you are literally seeing them partner, running all over the city, having each other's back, trying to figure out who is causing pandemonium and chaos in Gotham, specifically on Bruce Wayne. And so you see them falling in love. And then you also see at the end that it's just not going to work because Catwoman is a criminal and Batman, as you know, loves justice. And she couldn't, she realized and he realized that until he isn't his first love isn't justice, it ain't gonna work out between the two of them. So that's the big like literally the end of the movie seemed just like the end of Hush, to be honest with you. So that was a big thing. The other thing from Hush is that you later find out, once you've read the entire series, that the person behind, like the big mastermind behind everything, was the Riddler. And in fact, the interrogation scene at the end of Hush, when Batman confronts the Riddler, looks exactly like when Batman confronts Edward Nashton or whatever his name is at the end of the Batman movie. It is literally, it looks almost the exact same. And you find out, like, oh my goodness, the Riddler from behind his prison cell, or Arkham, wherever he was in the book, was behind everything. So like, I thought it was kind of dope that Hush, like the interrogation scene of Hush, was represented in the movie. Okay. Next comic book. Batman Earth One. Batman Earth One is a graphic novel. It's essentially like an Earth One version. It's like the graphic, gritty version of the DC universe. Written by Jeff Johns. A couple of the things I saw from Batman Earth One is, number one, the interpretation of Alfred. In the Batman movie, Alfred is the one who trains Bruce Wayne how to fight, and Alfred, in all sense of purposes, you can perceive that he is a badass. In the Batman Earth One comic book, you guessed it, Alfred was the one who taught Bruce Wayne how to fight. He essentially taught him how to be the Batman. And Alfred is also a badass who also has a cane. Yep, just like the Batman we saw in the movie. So, like, essentially, this is the Alfred that we saw. It was the Alfred from Batman Earth One. The other thing is you get to see in Batman Earth One that Batman is actually not just a Wayne, but he's also an Arkham. Because Martha Wayne and Kane in like the other universes, in Batman Earth One, she is Martha Arkham from the family of Arkhams, who is perceived to all be cursed, and they're all cursed with insanity. So every here and there something happens to an Arkham and they all get, put into like a mental hospital. And that influenced Bruce to found Arkham Asylum. And so it looks like they took that exact plot point of Bruce being the last bloodline of both the Waynes and the Arkhams and put it in this movie, and use the fact that the Arkhams are cursed with insanity as a blackmailing device in the movie, which is why Thomas Wayne is motivated to work with the Falcones to like get that story covered up. That is dope. I was freaking out. Otis was with me when I saw the movie, and so I was like looking at him yelling, Otis, Otis, and I was pretty much getting on his nerves. But that's what you get when you go watch a movie with me. So essentially, like, they took that exact plot point and put it in the movie. It was crazy. It was crazy. Another thing from Batman Earth One is the Penguin. Like the Penguin's essentially the mayor in Batman Earth One, but like his kind of like sadisticness, like gritty, like I ain't want to mess with type of vibe that you get from the movie is the type of vibe you get from Batman Earth One. And by the way, in Batman Earth One, Alfred kills the Penguin. Spoiler alert, but that's neither here nor there. Sorry if I thoroughly annoyed you and made you upset. My bad. And the last comic that I will reference is Zero Year, written by Scott Snyder. Zero Year is essentially like the first, like the very beginning of Batman operating in Gotham. The main villain, the first super villain ever to premiere in Gotham through this book, is the Riddler. And towards the end of that series, what does the Riddler do? He floods Gotham with a series of bombs that has the city go under martial law, and essentially Batman has to be like super gritty, riding a steampunk bike, helping the city because the Riddler essentially took it over. Does that sound familiar, y'all? Yes, it sounds familiar because that was literally the last, 30 minutes of the movie. The Riddler floods the city, and Batman has to do everything he can and bless him, because I knew he was tired at that point. Has to do everything he can to not have the city like completely run over. It does still end up going under martial law, but that's that was the end of the movie, so we don't really know what happens. But like literally, the bombs exploding to the floods, the catacombs being flooded, and Gotham being underwater. It is literally, I mean, literally, it looks just like what happened in Zero Year. So, as you can imagine, for somebody who has read, I don't know, maybe close to 500 Batman comic books, I clearly read all the ones I just mentioned. And I'm sitting in this 3 hour movie watching scene after scene, like be something that is referenced from a book that I just read or a book that I've read throughout the years. I was freaking out. Because and this is what I started the episode with saying, this is like the greatest Batman story I ever saw in movie version. Like I've seen a lot of amazing stuff about Batman, but when it comes to like Batman the character himself and seeing him as a detective, as a badass fighter, as like the person who just like gives dread and fear to criminals, man, it was like nothing better than what I saw in that movie. So yeah, I clearly liked it, and I definitely appreciated all the comic book references that were in the movie. So I just wanted to drop in, tell y'all, like, one, go watch it. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Actually, if you haven't watched it and you listen to this, I'm sorry. I didn't give a spoiler warning. I just wanted to jump into it. So if you haven't watched it, my bad. You should still go watch it because there's a lot I didn't say. Two, definitely check out those comic books. It'll make you appreciate it even more, like the movie that you just saw. And three, like, keep listening out. I don't know when we're all gonna talk about this. The bet just happened. If you haven't heard the bet episode, it's the one right before this. Go listen. Esco and Mark are betting on which movie is gonna be better. Or excuse me, not which one's gonna be better. Which one is going to gross more box office tickets, either the Batman or Doctor Strange. I actually do not know. I do not know. So we shall see. And at some point, the superhero roundtable will once again come together and discuss all the superhero movies that have come out. I don't know when we're going to do that, but I'm sure it's going to happen. Well, anyways, thank you for listening. We have a new episode come out every month. You can find us on all social media at Pop Cult Parent, POPCULTPARENT. You can visit us at www.popcultparent.com. You can email us at popcultparent@gmail.com. Please don't forget to rate us, review, and subscribe. And as always,